Before I explain more about the developmental tasks in adulthood, I think it is better to remind you once again about the definitions of developmental tasks which is proposed by Robert Havigers. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how are you today? Welcome back to Child Development Subject with me, Miss Dyah. Today, we are going to continue our discussion that is still related to our previous material. So last week, we have studied about an interesting topic in child development, which is about developmental tasks. It is including its definition, the purposes, the sources, and also the stages. We also have discussed about the developmental tasks of the early human stages from childhood to adolescence. And as I promised you in the previous meeting, today I'm going to continue explaining about the developmental tasks from the next stage, which is adulthood. So let's get it started. Well, there are several points that we are going to learn today as well as the objectives of this study. So the first, we're going to learn about the list of developmental tasks from early adulthood to late adulthood. And then the second one, we're going to talk about the factors influencing mastery of developmental tasks. And the last one, number 3, is talking about the obstacles to mastery of developmental tasks. Before I explain more about the developmental tasks in adulthood, I think it is better to remind you once again about the definitions of developmental tasks which is proposed by Robert Havigers. So, what is actually developmental task? Developmental task is a task which an individual has and wants to solve in a special life period. A developmental task is the midway between an individual need and a social demand. It assumes an active learner interacting with an active social environment. Now, let's talk about some developmental tasks for adults starting from early adulthood. So in the age of 19 to 30 or early adulthood period, a person will probably be having these several developmental tasks, such as the first, selecting a mate. So until it is accomplished, the task of finding a marriage partner is at once the most interesting and also the most disturbing of the tasks of early adulthood. This will also probably lead to such a certain problem for an individual. The next task is about learning to live with a marriage partner. So after wedding, there comes a period of learning how to fit two persons or two people live together. This period consists of learning to express and control one's feeling, that is anger and then also joy, disgust, so that one can live intimately and happily with one's spouse. The next task is talking about rearing children. So with the gaining of children, the young couple take over a responsibility far greater than any responsibility they have ever had before. This means learning how to manage the child and also learning to adapt their own daily and weekly schedules to the needs of growing children. The next task in early adulthood is about managing a home. So family life is built around a physical centers, the home, and depends for its success greatly upon how well managed this home is. The next is getting started in an occupations. So this task takes an enormous amount of the young person's time and also energy during young adulthood. The next task in early adulthood is taking on civic responsibility. So two assumes responsibility for the welfare of a group outside of the family, such as a neighborhood or community group or church or a politician's organizations. It is the example of taking on civics responsibility. And the last task in early adulthood is finding a congenial social group. So marriage often involves breaking of social ties for one or both young people and then forming a new friendships. Okay, so those are some developmental tasks had in early adulthood. The next steps or period is middle age. So there are some developmental tasks that commonly happen in this period, middle age, around age 30 to 60 years old. So what are the developmental tasks happen in this period? The examples are assisting teenage children in becoming responsible and also happy adults. And then the next is achieving the adult social and also civic responsibility. The next is reaching in maintaining satisfactory performance in one's occupational career. And then the next is coping with retirement and also reduced income. The next, developing adult leisure time and activities. And then also relating to one's spouse as a person. The next is accepting the psychological changes of middle age and adjusting to aging parent. In this stage or middle age, Havigers has divided these tasks into 4 major categories. So what are they? The first is tasks relating to physical changes. So these tasks include the acceptance of and also the adjustment to physical changes that normally occur during the middle age. And then the next is tasks relating to the change interests. So in the middle-aged persons often assume civic and also social responsibility and develops an interest in adult-oriented leisure time activities which were not taken care of during early adulthood. And the next task, according to Havigers, is tasks relating to vocational adjustment. So these tasks revolve around establishing and also maintaining a relatively stable standard of living. And the last is tasks relating to family life. The major tasks include relating to oneself, to one's spouse as a person, adjusting to aging parents, and also assisting teenage children to become responsible and also successful adults. And you have to always remember that developmental tasks in such particular period, for example, in early adulthood and also middle age and other periods, are not mastered at the same time or in the same way by all people. Some are more likely to be mastered during the early years of period and some in the later part of the period. So it varies for different individuals. So you have to remember that. After early adulthood and also middle age, the next period in adulthood is called as later maturity in 60 years old and above. So there are several developmental tasks in this period, later maturity. The first is about adjusting to decreasing strength and also health. Yes, because physical strength begins to decline from the age 30 to age 80 and above. So that people in this period, in later maturity, they need to adjust to decreased strength and also health. The next is adjusting to retirement and also reduced income. So retirement requires adjustment to a new lifestyle characteristic by decreased income, lesser activity level, and also increased free time. The Dyah individual have to make several adjustments in their roles, personal and also social associations in their sense of accomplishment and also productivity.
Selanjutnya, kita saksikan video Profil Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia.
Lampung, the treasures of Sumatra, is a province that becomes the gateway to the Sumatra Island. Lampung has 2 municipalities and 13 districts, consisting of 234 sub-districts. The province, with an area of 35,587 km squares, owns millions of extraordinary natural beauty. Education in Lampung province is also highly considered and colored by the existence of Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia. Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia has 3 faculties and 12 study programs. Faculty of Engineering and Computer Sciences with the 6 study programs: Electrical Engineering, Civil Engineering, Computer Engineering, Information Technology, Informatics, and Information System. Faculty of Economics and Business with 2 study programs: Management and Accounting. Faculty of Arts and Educations with 4 study programs: English Literature, Mathematics Education, English Educations, and Physical Education. Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia believes that education is the key to the advancements of a nation. Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia commits to produce and develop future leaders through the education of quality characters. This receives a very good reception and trust from the community, which is marked by an increasing interest in students from year to year. The students and lecturers have lots of achievements and awards. Also, our quality is recognized by National Accreditation Board for Higher Education and many international collaborations. Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia also prepares the students to face the globalization era through the use of digital technology. Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia has a number of representative facilities provided to support the learning process, such as comfortable classroom, laboratories, information technology, and the internet. Our vision is to be an excellent university in Sumatra with international standard and able to play an active role in nation building through 3 pillars of higher education, comprising education, research, and community service. We have graduated outstanding students who can be accepted in state agencies and other large companies. At Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia, the students and lecturers are encouraged to create and innovate by creating products and services that benefit the community through research activities and community services. In an effort to achieve its visions and missions, the academics of Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia are guided by the organizational culture values of discipline, quality, creative, and innovative. To support the quality of learning processes, we have very complete and sophisticated facilities, including digital-based smart classroom, hotspot in campus area, sport facilities, auditorium, and students' hall. Come and be a part of us, the campus of champion, Universitas Teknokrat Indonesia.
Terima kasih sudah menyaksikan video pembelajaran ini. Jangan lupa like, komen dan subscribe, serta nyalakan tanda loncengnya agar kalian tidak ketinggalan informasi update lainnya. Spada.